paycheck to paycheck seems to be the norm these days, so let's talk about it.
I make $150,000 a year as a single income earner. I live paycheck to paycheck. I have no retirement. I have no savings, and it sucks. And I work 24/7. Farm Girl Nerd here has a great quote, though. She says, "You must gain control over your money, or the lack of it will forever control you." And I am living proof of this statement. I'm in massive debt. And it was not overnight. It happened over an 11-year span. When I tell you that I live paycheck to paycheck, it is not an exaggeration. This is why budgeting is so important. I was in an abusive relationship for many years and I was controlled. Budgeting feels very controlling to me, when in reality, all it is telling you where to put your dollars. It's interesting because as I'm going through this journey of getting out of debt, the more and more I realize that I am human and I have made mistakes, but I am taking control of those actions. And one day I will control my money. Right now, I don't. Every single penny goes to minimum payments, and it sucks. And that doesn't even include rent and mortgage. I have the day off work today, and I'm outside hustling to pay for life. Budget, people, and actually apply the budget.
That is some solid advice right there. There are so many people right now who are living paycheck to paycheck. And by paycheck to paycheck, I mean if their pay doesn't hit the day they think it's gonna hit, they're not able to buy food. They're not able to go to work. They're not able to send their kids to school because they cannot afford to live an extra day before that paycheck comes in. And that is such a sad place to be in. That is such a tough financial bind. And I just really hope that all these messages that I'm putting out here, there's helping someone to realize that, hey, I need to budget. I need to know where my money is going. I need to make more money. I need to spend less. And I need to do whatever I need to do in order to get my financial life together, or else my life will get worse and not better. Economy is not going to get better. Do not hold your breath on the economy getting better. Count on yourself. Bet on you and your ability to change your financial situation by yourself. And by yourself doesn't mean you don't get help from anyone else. I mean, do not depend on the government to bail you out.
I am so tired of living my life in survival mode because despite having two college degrees and making close to $80,000 a year, I still cannot keep up with the cost of living. I still cannot afford all of my bills every month and have to live paycheck to paycheck. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I am sacrificing my mental health, my time, and my energy to take care of people in their most vulnerable moments. And a lot of the time, they do not make it. At the very least, I should be able to pay my bills. And for anyone who's thinking, oh, well, you shouldn't have chose that job, somebody has to do it. And you know damn well, if your loved one was critically ill, you would want somebody to take care of that, right? Something has to give. I cannot keep doing this.
Am I the only one who feels like I will never stop living paycheck to paycheck? The economy we live in is trash. The jobs we work for are trash. They pay you the bare minimum, but want you to show up and give your 110%. How does that work? These houses, they want you to pay $1,000+ for rent, and they're 1980 houses. You got to have a deposit, last month's rent, first month's rent. Like, why do I need to pay last month's rent? I don't understand that. Car insurance, car payments, they're rip-offs. Why am I paying $300 for car insurance? I don't understand. Health insurance, skyrocket. Food, skyrocket. Like, I just don't understand how I will ever be able to afford to wake up and go hop on a plane and enjoy my best life. I just don't understand. By the time my kids get to adulthood, they're going to have to pay to open the door to walk out of their own house. I really, really, really rather be a cockroach crawling on the ground for free than have to live this life every day.
And that's also why a lot of people are choosing to be child free, or maybe if they have one child, they're choosing to just be one and done. Because living in this economy, and there, as she said, there's so much money for rent, car payment, insurance, health insurance, so many other things that we have to pay for in order to just live, to just get by. Having children and having another mouth to feed, another person to take care of, another person to pay insurance for, it is so expensive that it is no wonder people are opting out of having kids because they can't afford it.
Like, I can't be the only one who feels this way. Like, I need to know, y'all that get to wake up and take trips and go across country and do $100 shopping sprees at Target every single day. What are you doing? What's the secret to life? What is the secret recipe that you have that we don't have? Let us know.
A lot of people who are living that life that she's talking about, they're in debt. Simply put, they are in debt, going on trips every 2 weeks, going on Target runs, buying coffee every day. They are in debt because there are some people who believe that, life is short and they have to enjoy their life while they're young. And then they rack up a lot of debt in the process of that, not realizing that when they get older, they are still going to be responsible for this debt. And when they get older, they are not in a position where they can work as much, where they can take two jobs if they need to take two jobs, where their work experience might no longer be needed for that particular industry that they're working in. Like there's so many jobs right now that AI is making their jobs obsolete. So if you are living your life thinking, I need to enjoy my life while I'm young and do everything while I'm young and take out all of these debts. When you get older, you are going to feel that and it's not going to be good. There are so many older people who don't have retirement because they had fun while they were young. By all means, have fun, but also be financially responsible. If you cannot do 2 vacations a year, do one. If you can't do one vacation a year, do it every 2 years. Get your finances in order and then, by all means, have fun. Do whatever you want to do. Set yourself up. Get some passive income. Have 2 sources of income, 3 sources of income. It's the possibilities are endless. There are so many people who are giving like good financial advice, good financial tips, helping you to be financially free. And that is what we should be focusing on while we are young. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the economy is not getting better. Things are not going to go back to 50 years ago when our parents were buying homes where they could be the mom was staying at home with 5 kids and the husband was working a job and he was able to comfortably pay for the house, educate those 5 kids. The wife has money to do whatever she wants to do. They were able to have retirement. They were able to have savings. They were able to send 5 kids to college. That is not a possibility right now. There is a very small percentage of families where they can only survive on one income. Very extremely small percentage of families. And that is because of where we are in the economy right now. Do not depend on the government for your financial safety. You have to look out for yourself. And it's better to do it while you are young because when you get old, it's getting worse and you will not be able to compete with the younger generation that's going to come after you.
Here's 5 things that help me end paycheck to paycheck living and help me pay down thousands of dollars of debt. And most of them don't even have anything to do with an actual dollar amount. Number one, I had to get sick and tired of being sick and tired of living paycheck to paycheck. I had to take accountability and realize that I'm the reason why I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Nothing or nobody else is the reason. Number two, I had to stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. The time, shoes was the thing, shoes and polo. So every time I get paid, I would try to go buy a pair of shoes. I would go to the outlet mall, go in there and spend $100 on a shirt and a hat at Polo, and repeat the cycle every single paycheck. Number three, I had to get more knowledgeable about how money works and what money's purpose really is. Since we were never taught financial literacy, all we know how to do is make and spend money. We weren't taught how to keep it or invest it or use it as a tool to create and build the lifestyles that we want. Number four, I learned how to pay myself first from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Every time we get paid, we paying everybody else, phone bill, light bill, car note. We making everybody else richer except for ourselves. And so we get to the end of our paycheck or the last bit of our money that we have left to ourselves, and then we have to make a hard decision of trying to save when we don't have much left because we done took care of everybody else before ourselves. And last but not least, and this is probably the most important one, I was disciplined and consistent. I was disciplined by saying no to things that I knew I shouldn't have been spending money on. I would sacrifice things that I wanted to have, but I decided not to because I could see the bigger picture. I was consistent with good money habits.
If you are going to be financially free, you have to create a budget and you have to stick to that budget and you have to be disciplined and you have to be able also to say no. No to other people wanting you to go out and spend money with them, and no to yourself wanting certain things that you may or may not need in the moment.
Someone please explain to me how a dual income family who are probably making, if not clearing, 200 grand a year are now having to consider fly in, fly out.
Because you live above your means. Period, point blank. I don't care what anybody gets on this apps and tell you. If y'all are dual income and y'all are clearing over 200K a year, you're living above your fucking means. Because me and my family clear over 200K a year. And I don't struggle at all. See, there's this thing called the middle class trap, or the, dual income trap, where you basically, like, you get the job, you making good money, she get a job, she make good money, y'all get together, then y'all go, and then y'all live like y'all, like two people into one, instead of living off of one person, and then the other person income is like basically the safety net. Your bills all of your living expenses, like bills, required bills, should be paid by one person's income. Because if something were to happen, whether they pass, they lose their job, life happens, at least you know the necessities are taken care of. But that's not what y'all do. Hell, I'm not even gonna lie. Me and my wife fell victim to that shit. I'm talking about money getting up. Like, we start hitting that stride, I'm like, God damn. You fall into the trap of thinking you have $200,000 or whatever both incomes, and you start making your bills match two incomes versus one. You go. I mean, and single people do this too. You go, when you make the money, now you like, oh, I go get the new car. She get the new car. Then we get the big house. Then we go get the pool. Then we get all the kids. Then we do, and it's like, that's not how it worked, bro. And we fell victim to that too. And I had to take a step back and reframe and recalculate and notice, like, okay, can we afford this? Yes. Is it a necessity? Fuck no. And then it's like, why? Why do I need a Hellcat and she need a Mercedes? You know what I'm saying? Why did I need a wide body scat and she had an Expedition? Why did I have a Hellcat and an RT and she had a Suburban? Why did I have a ZL1 and she had a Suburban? So it's like, there was no need. Now I don't have no car. I don't have a car no. Now I did just buy that big ass motherfucking Suburban yesterday, but that's literally, like, all of our bills, including my wife's fucking $1,400 car note, can all, and every necessity bill. I'm talking about, I'm paying mortgage, insurance for all these fucking cars. I pay everything with my income and still have money to last me for the rest of the month, honestly. And all of my wife's income from the Navy it goes to savings, it goes to investment, it goes to groceries, it goes to whatever, frilly foo-foo shit. But it's not like we're breaking our backs and scripping and scrounging and scraping pennies to try to ensure that our necessities get paid for. So when the folks that get on here and say they're struggling making that type of money, ask them to write down all their bills and where their money goes and what their budget is like. 99% of them don't even have a fucking budget. They just spend. They don't know where their money going. They done just bought shit and it's on auto pay and they just take, and it's just going. They don't know where their money's going. Like, every year we try to every semi-annually, me and my wife sit down and we, refresh, recalculate, see where the money's going, and then we make adjustments. What do we need to dial back? What are we trying to accomplish? What are we trying to do this year? And we meet halfway, make sure we doing what we're doing. Then at the next year, we follow up and have a goddamn debrief and we adjust accordingly. Most of these folks, whether they're married or not, single making the income or together making the income, majority of them don't even budget, don't know where their fucking money's going. but then we'll get on here and tell y'all $100,000 ain't no real money. $200,000 ain't no real money. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. They're cap. And that's why I get so upset when they get on here and then they tell people that shit. Meanwhile, they making double, triple the amount of money that the average person's even making. Meanwhile, there's people out there making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 and ain't struggling. That's a you problem, big dog.
And that's the trap of lifestyle inflation. You're earning more money, and so you think you need to increase your expenses. Now you need the nice car. Now you need the big condo. Now you need to take a vacation every month. And that is how you end up living paycheck to paycheck, regardless of how much money you're making. If you get a promotion, now is not the time for you to be thinking of that new thing that you're going to buy that's going to end up being a monthly expense or a yearly expense. Now's the time for you to say, okay, can I pay down my debt with this extra money? Can I start some investments with this extra money? Can I top up my emergency fund with this extra money? And that is how we are going to get financially free. There is no other way.
It's the 5th of September and I'm literally out of money for the month. I paid my bills, aka I paid my rent, which leaves me every single month with $600 left over. Next, my car payment. That takes another good chunk. Don't forget car insurance. Oh, also, don't forget, I went to the doctor one time. $100 finally got posted today. My electric bill. Electric bills have been going up like crazy. Like my bill used to be $45. It was $93. And then that isn't even me doing food. And if you know anything about food prices lately, frozen vegetables cost upwards of $1.50 to $2 a bag. Chicken, 2 chicken breasts the other day cost me $8. So yeah, it's the 5th of the month. I literally have basically no money left for the month, and I'm not sure what to do the rest of September. So if you're in the same boat, please comment down below because I'm genuinely curious. Are we all in our 20s basically broke and have no idea how we're supposed to ever save for a house or have money left over in general every month?
I think one of the things that's often overlooked in these conversations is when you become an adult, and I mean like 18, you do not have to move out of your parents' home if it's not a toxic home. Because so many of us young people, we think that as soon as we become adults and we get a job, that means we need to move out and we need to have our own apartment and we need to get our own car. If you are not making a really good income and you are debt free with an emergency fund, you do not need to move out of your parents' homes. If it's not a toxic home, again, I will stress that point. If it's not a toxic household, stay with your parents for as long as you can. Save your money, invest your money, have multiple sources of income. So then when you eventually move out, half of your income does not go to paying rent.
So expensive not to be rich, and I was raised very financially privileged. My mom had a good job. My dad stayed home and raised the kids. They didn't have to pay for childcare, like all of that sort of thing. But I am not as financially secure as my parents were. And so I'm living paycheck to paycheck. My payday is today. So of course I'm going through my bank account, making sure that like everything's ready for me to transfer money where it needs to go and pay the bills that I have. And I saw that there was an incorrect charge on my account, which led to an overdraft fee. And so when you don't have the money for simple mistakes like that to be happening, you're just in this endless loop of wasting your time and wasting money because you're paying for things that you didn't necessarily make a mistake on. And it just is crazy to me that rich people don't have to deal with this because they don't have to worry about if they have a minimum balance in their checking account. They don't have to worry about an overdraft fee because that's never going to happen. If a mistake happens, they'll get compensated, they'll get the refund, no sweat off their back. Maybe there is some time wasted having to like process and request a refund to be made. But when you're so tight with your time and tight with your money, anything that goes off of the plan, any deviation from it, throws a wrench in the whole entire system and ecosystem that you've created for yourself or have to deal with for yourself.
So here's 5 things that I did to help end paycheck to paycheck living, and has also helped me remain debt free now for 11 plus years. And these 5 things really don't have too much to do with the dollars and cents of actual money, but they make a huge difference in your success in actually getting out of debt. The first one being I had to recognize that I was the freaking problem in my financial life. I was the reason I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was the reason that I was broke. But it's really easy to take the victim mentality approach and point the finger at everybody else and everything else that's going on in the world and say, that's the reason I'm broke. But until I was willing to take responsibility for the things that I could control, that's when things really started to change for me. Number two, I really focused on creating short term and long term goals that were going to help me reach the life that I wanted to live. And that's key to number three, which is breaking away from what other people think and caring about what other people think about your life and the way that you're running it. Because it's amazing to me how many people you surround yourself that will dictate how you spend your money, how you manage your money based on how they think that you should live your life. And a lot of us are just living a life that we don't really want to live, but we're only doing it to seek approval from other people. Number four is I focused on the small steps that I could take on a daily basis because I began to realize, especially as I was getting started getting out of debt, if I looked at the big picture, if I looked at the mountain of debt I had to overcome to get out of debt, it was too overwhelming. And I would self sabotage because I would keep thinking that it's going to be impossible to get myself out of this situation. So instead, I focused on the small steps that I could take. And by focusing on the small steps, it makes it seem achievable. Like I could make this progress. I could pay off that little credit card. I could save up that small amount of money. And slowly but surely, those small little steps turned into giant steps over the years. And the fifth one is a big one. It kept me stuck and it keeps a lot of other people stuck. It is letting my ego go and letting go of this anchor bias that many of us have about money and personal finance. And that was probably the biggest thing to break more than anything is just to let all of my feelings and beliefs about money, the same feelings and belief that honestly were keeping me broke, let that stuff go. Let my ego go. Tell myself I don't have it all figured out. I don't know how to do this stuff the right way. And then go out and seek out individuals who are doing it the right way and be willing to accept those ideas and implement them into my life. And since then, I have transformed my entire financial life and my future. If you're looking for more helpful tips to help you save more money, get out of debt, and paycheck to paycheck living, you'd like to hear how normal everyday people are doing it, making pretty normal incomes, go check out the Debt Free Dad podcast.
I like that he touched on the point of not caring about how other people think you should live your life. So, for example, if you have friends that are going out every week to drink, going out every week for food, going out for fun, going to the beach, going to the pool, spending money that they may or may not have, and they are asking you to come each time, if you are at a place where you realize that you need to get your finances together, you will need to start telling them no. You will need to start either not going at all or maybe going once a month or once every other month with them. And if they start to judge you or they start to say, oh, you're a party pooper, you don't want to go out with them anymore, you're not a good friend or whatever, you're going to have to realize that their perception of what you're doing has nothing to do with you and more to do with how they see themselves and how they view their relationship with money and less of an indication that there is something wrong with you or what you are doing. Your friend who goes out every week to drink, who puts it on the credit card, or maybe they have the money to pay for it, your friend and you're not in the same situation. You do not have the same circumstances in life, and you do not need to hold on to what your friend is doing or what they can and cannot afford as an indication of what you should be doing with your life. And if those people are truly your friends, they should be able to acknowledge that, hey, this is not something that they can afford or even something that they want to be doing at this time, and that is okay. They're still my friend. We can find other ways to interact. We can find other ways to spend time with each other. We can find other ways to bond and communicate. Why is it that we have been socialized in such a way where going out with your friends to spend money is you spending time with your friends? There was a time when your friends used to come over, you used to go over to your friends, you used to watch a movie, you have a series that you're watching together, you make popcorn, you have finger food, and that was you spending time with your friends. You went to the park, you did roller skating, you rode your bicycle together. There are so many other ways that you can have fun with someone, and this goes even in dating as well. If you are dating and you cannot afford to be going on lavish dates every week, then you can come up with creative ways that you can spend time with your partner without having to break the bank. And I think we need to step away. And like he said, there's an ego problem there because you just want to seem like, I'm that girl or I'm that guy and I have to do these things because this is what society expects of me. Society should not be your moral compass or your financial compass. Society does what society wants to do to keep us where we are trapped and dependent on society for our validation. Validate yourself. You do not need to have the car that your neighbor has because it's just the greatest car. You do not need a Tesla. You don't need the new Mercedes Benz. Take the time you need, evaluate your finances, and make the right decision for your future self. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video.